Can you see my screen now?
Please hold on.
Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
What are you
Today,
seeing?
I am seeing my name, my initials, Donna. That's it. The blank
Okay, do like you did yesterday. Log out and log in again.
login again. Okay. Yes.
Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I can. I can.
Okay, good. So what we are going to do today is costs volume profits, shortened as CVP analysis. And we are going to concentrate on single product situation. Single product situation. I've already sent you the question. I've sent you the video. It was absolutely your job to have gone through the video to try to familiarize yourself with the concept and to have also gone through the question attempting to solve it. So what we are going to do today is purely a tutorial. You already have, or you should have, the background understanding by watching the video and by reading the textbook that I gave you so that you can follow along how the solution will move. I hope that is correct.
Yes, please.
Okay. So let's go to the question. I'm going to read through the question so that you can just follow. After which, I'll give you a few minutes to also take your time and go through the question by yourself, and we'll all solve it together. Okay, so this is a question. Nerima Company sells blouses in Cape Coast, Ghana. Blouses are imported from Pakistan and are sold to customers in Cape Coast at a profit. So that's the business he does. He has salespersons who helps in the selling of the blouses. And salespersons are paid basic salary plus a decent commission of 14 cedis on each sale made by them. Selling price and expense data is given below. So you can see some table.
Okay.
Selling price for one blouse. That's the meaning of selling price per blouse. It's 80 Ghana cedis. And then the variable cost that goes into the production of one blouse is made up of this. Or the variable cost of one blouse is made up of the invoice cost. That's the cost that we pay the supplier for the blouse. Then the sales commission that we give to the salespeople.
Okay.
They are made of these two items. So variable cost of sale is made up of the cost at which we buy the blouse plus the sales commission we pay to the salespeople. 36 and 14, giving us a total variable cost of 50.
50.
Then we have fixed costs. Fixed cost is broken down into the following components. Rent is 160,000 Ghana cedis for the whole year. Advertising is 300 Ghana cedis for the whole year. Salaries for the salespeople and even for everybody, salaries is 140,000 for the year. Total fixed cost is 600,000. So this is the question. You are required to compute the break-even point in units and in cities using the information above. Prepare a CVP graph, also known as break-even chart, and show the break-even point on the graph. Which means that, for exam purposes, you could be given a picture of a break-even chart, and you're supposed to be able to interpret the chart. There's a question that can come. So that's the reason why that question is there. Requirement 3. What will be the net operating income or loss if the company sells 18,500 blouses in a year? 4. If the manager is paid a commission of 6 cedis per blouse sold, in addition to the salesperson's commission, what will be the effect on company's break-even point? So this is some sort of sensitivity analysis. As an alternative to requirement 4 above, company is thinking to pay 6 cedis commission to manager on each blouse sold in excess of break-even point. What will be the effect of this change on the net operating income or loss of Berema Company if 23,500 blouses are sold in a year? 6. Refer to the original data. What will be the break-even point of the company if commission is entirely eliminated and salaries are increased by 214,000 a year? Okay, so that's the question. I hope you can see the question. You can
Yes, please.
understand the question. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm giving you sorry, I'm giving you 2 minutes to go through the question yourself, after which we will solve it together. So 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, please, are you done?
Yes.
Okay, so let's see how the solution to this question will be like. From reading of the textbook for the conceptual understanding or from watching of the video, you should have understood certain formulas. Those videos were done in such a way that how the formulas were even derived, all of them are catered for in the video. When you watch that video, I can promise you will be able to understand CVP inside out. If you haven't watched it, by no means you can understand. Okay. If you go to the requirement, it says compute break-even. 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 Requirement 1 is asking us for break-even quantity. We can represent break-even quantity with this notation. Break-even quantity. The break-even point has two values. Break-even quantity. The break-even quantity talks about the physical quantities of the goods. So if it is about the product you are selling, the natural tea stuff that you are selling, the break-even quantity is the number of the cans, the number of those bottles that you sell. And then the break-even revenue is the money that is generated from selling those number of cans. So normally when we say break-even point, it is about two things. At the break-even point, we have the quantity sold and the revenue generated. All right.
Okay.
Okay. The break-even quantity is given by the formula total fixed costs for the period divided by contribution per unit. So let me unit contribution divided by unit contribution. Now, if you go to the question, how do we know total fixed cost? So let's bring this line here. We are now going to see total fixed cost from the question. If you look at the question, you will see that we have here annual fixed cost.
Annual fixed cost, yeah.
Yes, and the annual fixed costs are divided into rent, advert,
And
salaries.
salaries, yeah.
So the sum of these three elements of fixed cost gives us the total fixed cost. And you can even see that they have written here total fixed cost.
Yeah.
Yeah. The total fixed cost is
600,000.
600,000. Unit contribution. What is contribution in the first place? Contribution is equal to selling price minus, let me write it well. Contribution is sales revenue minus variable costs. That's contribution. Sales revenue minus variable costs. If we are using only one product to compute this statistic, then we call it unit contribution or contribution per unit. and that will be selling price per unit. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit.
Please, can you come
Minus
again on
variable cost per unit.
Joshua? Hello.
Yes, madam.
Please come
Yes, I'm
again on
listening to
the.
you.
Please come again on the selling price aspect. You said something like if you are using one
I am talking about this.
product.
I'm talking about this unit
Okay.
contribution.
Yeah.
Unit contribution means contribution for a single product, like
Okay.
contribution for one box of your product, one can of
Okay.
your product, right?
Okay. Okay.
If you go and bring 1,000 pieces of your product and you sell them, we can compute contribution on all of those products you have sold. That is total contribution, which
Okay.
is given as sales revenue minus total
Right.
variable costs.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes. Please.
Are you okay, please?
Yes. Yes. I'm okay.
But if we want to know the contribution, yeah, if you want to know the contribution of just one container of your product, just one can, that is
Okay.
what we call unit contribution. That is contribution for only one product. So unit contribution or contribution per unit means contribution for one product, like one can, like the one you gave me.
Okay.
That one is given by the formula, the selling price for that one can you gave me minus the variable cost of that one can you gave me. So unit contribution, because you are saying unit for one single product, it is sales revenue for that one can, which is the same as the selling price of that can, minus the variable costs of that can. So unit contribution is given by the formula selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit. Are you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Now let's go to the question and find that information. We have all the information that they have given us here is for one product. So you can see selling price per blouse is for one blouse. It's 80. And variable cost per one blouse is made up of invoice cost of
Invoice
36
cost
and sales
36.
commission of 14,
14.
giving us variable cost for one blouse to be 50.
50. Okay.
Are you okay?
Yes, please.
So when we come back to our drawing board, our unit contribution will be selling price of 80 Ghana minus selling price per unit of 80 Ghana minus variable cost per unit of 50 Ghana, giving us, when you subtract
30.
when you
30.
subtract 50 from 80, what do you get?
30.
30.
Yes.
So 30 is our unit contribution. Now let's go back. We said break-even quantity is the whole of this formula. I hope you are seeing it.
Yes. Total fixed cost.
Break-even quantity is total fixed cost
Fixed
divided by
cost
unit contribution.
contribution.
We have known from the question how to get this and how
Yeah.
to get this.
Yeah.
So you can simply calculate your BEQ. So let's go to, so this is our unit contribution. Now our break-even quantity can now be computed as 600,000, that is our
1,000
total fixed cost,
over 30.
divided by 30, which is our contribution per unit. And what will this give us? Use your calculator and tell me the figure.
20,000.
Okay, 20,000. So 20,000 blouses. What does this mean? What does break even mean? I'm asking you. I need you to answer.
Okay,
From
break
your
even.
reading, what did you get to break even?
Break
Yes.
break even. It means that you either make a profit or loss.
Come
You
again.
either make a profit or loss. Like you don't make a loss, but I, I don't want to use the word break even, but um,
I'm listening.
you either make a profit or loss.
I don't get you. You either make a profit or loss.
Like neither a profit
So
nor
when
a
you make a
loss.
profit, neither a profit or loss.
Yeah.
Yes. Neither a profit or loss. So what would that value be? Well, let me officer. I don't know if we can meet shortly. About 1 hour, 1 hour time. Tomorrow, yeah, tomorrow is Saturday. Yeah, I think I'll come. I'll come to campus. Okay, okay, no problem. Yeah, bye. Uh, Dolan. So break even is neither profit nor loss. What would that figure be?
Yeah, 20,000.
No. When you have neither made profit nor loss, what will that profit be? That will be profit zero.
Yeah, yeah, yes, it will be
Don't you
zero.
see? So break even is also the same as zero profit.
Yeah,
When you make more than zero profit, that is profit. When you make less than zero profit, that is loss. Negative profit is loss.
yeah,
The break even is just at the middle. I'm not in the negative region. So if you draw a number line, for example, this is the origin, zero. This is negative. This is positive. We can have -1, -2, -3, +1, 2, 3, and so on and so forth. When your profit is here, is on this zero, you are neither in the negative region or in the positive region.
positive
And this
region.
is what we call break even. Are you okay?
Yes, please.
When your profit moves from this zero or central point to, let's say, 1, let's say here, then you have made a profit, positive profit. The economists call it supernormal profit. When your profit is here, you have made a negative profit, and this is what we call loss.
Loss.
And this is supernormal profit. Okay, so break-even profit is also known as profit zero. Neither profit nor loss means your profit is zero. Are you okay?
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So the break-even quantity that we were computing, we were only gauging how many quantities of blouses that we should sell so that the company will get zero profit. The company will be able to pay all of its costs. but there will be nothing left as profit, zero profit. For the company to be able to do that, it needs to sell 20,000 blouses. Given the cost structure that it has, 600,000 fixed cost, variable cost of 50, selling price of 80, to break even, the company needs to sell 20,000 pieces of blouses. 20,000 pieces of blouse. Are you okay with that?
Yes, please.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. Um,
Okay.
please,
Ask any question
I
that you want to ask.
yes, I want you to go back to when we were computing the the contribution. The unit code. Okay, good. I want to price. Okay. Okay, please, I'm okay. I'm okay, sir.
Okay, good. Good. So this is how we calculate break-even quantity. So if we are to use your business, for example, it means you have to sell 20,000 cans of your product
Yes.
so that you'll be able to pay all the costs in the business, but there will be nothing left as profit. You'll be able to pay yourself your own salary, all the people you are using to help you, salespeople, pay their wages, pay for every other cost. But just that is just how your revenue can do. There will be no excess revenue that will be like a profit. That's break even. And it's good for you to know this about your business. So you see, the break-even quantity is a function of total fixed cost and variable cost and selling price. It means that when any one of these things change, it can change your break-even
Mm.
situation. All right,
Yeah.
good. So when your fixed cost, let's say, reduces from 600,000 to 500,000, by common sense, you can understand that, oh, because now I don't have so much cost to pay, then I have to sell less blouses to be able to break even. So if say sorry, your total fixed cost now changes from 600,000 to, let's say, 500,000, then the break-even quantity of blouses will reduce. Do you understand that analogy? That comparison?
Yes. Yeah. To
Yes.
reduce.
Yes. From common sense perspective, now I have less cost to pay. It means I have less blouses to also sell to pay all my costs. On the other side, if fixed costs increase from, say, 600,000 to 700,000, then you understand that you will have to sell more to be able to break even. Is that right for you?
Yes. Please.
Yes. So you have to understand this is what we call scenario analysis or sensitivity analysis. And some questions will follow up with some of these things. And in fact, in this question, we have a case like that. The question will ask you, assuming fixed cost changes from this figure to this, or fixed cost increases by 10%, what will be the picture in terms of the break-even analysis? You should be able to understand these things and work on them. Okay, so let's go back to the question. We have done one part of the first question, compute break-even point in units. So we are done with the units, this one. And we have understood that for the Berima company to break even, he needs to sell
20,000.
quantities of blouses of 20,000. And the question says, not only in units, but also in cities. But also in cities. So how do we calculate for the cities? Also in cities. How do we calculate for the cities? Okay, so there's another formula. that you need to know?
So the A aspect is asking of two. Is of two parts, the units and then
Yes.
the cities.
Quantity and revenue. Good.
Okay.
Okay, so the break even revenue, that is the cities, right?
Yeah.
So we can use this shortcut word to represent it. Break even revenue. Break even revenue is given by the formula total fixed cost. Not the reason why this topic is so easy to understand and score is that the formulas are almost the same, only small things change. See, when we're doing the break-even quantity, we use the same total fixed cost, break-even revenue, the same total fixed cost is here. Divided by, this time around, instead of unit contribution, there is a term they call contribution to sales ratio. In the short form, they call it CS ratio. You have to understand these things. So you see, it is only the denominator that is changing. The top is the same. So we need to now we need to understand what contribution to sales ratio is or means. But before I forget, contribution to sales ratio is also termed contribution margin ratio. This is an American expression for the same thing that we have said. Contribution to sales ratio is the same as contribution margin ratio. Are you okay?
Yes, please.
Hello, are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. So contribution to sales ratio is also known
Hello?
as. Hello, can
Okay.
you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I'm okay. You said the contribution to sales ratio is also known as contribution to margin ratio. So well noted. I
Contribution
understand.
margin ratio.
Contribution margin ratio. Yes.
Good. And that is given by the formula selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit, all divided by selling price per unit again. Let's see the difference between this and the first one. The first one, when we're talking about unit contribution, see
Contribution.
this. We said unit contribution is selling price per unit minus variable cost per unit.
Cost per unit. Yes.
You will see the same thing is here. Selling price per unit minus variable cost per
Variable
unit. The
cost
only
per unit.
difference is that we are dividing the whole
Coordinate.
thing by selling price
Selling
again.
price per unit. Okay.
Yes, good. So this is what we call contribution margin
Margin
ratio
ratio.
or contribution to sales
Contribution to
ratio.
sales ratio.
So when we divide fixed cost, by contribution to sales ratio or contribution margin ratio, we will get our break-even revenue, which is the money that we have to generate so that we can pay all of our costs. But there will be nothing left as profit. Our profit will be zero. Right. So when we go to the question, we can see that contribution to sales ratio, aka contribution margin ratio, is equal to 80 because it is selling price per unit minus 50 all divided by 80 again. And we will get 30 divided by 80. What will that be? Are you following?
Yes, can you go over again for me, please?
Do you understand this discussion?
Yes, I am following. I understand small. But I understand up to we
No,
generating
you
the,
understand what you are saying.
sorry, hello, hello.
Please go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Uh-huh. The selling, the what you call it, the BER. I understand the formula. Then how to derive the contribution to sales ratio, which is a selling price per unit minus the variable cost per unit divided by the selling price. I'm okay with that. So the selling price per unit from what we did, the selling
Okay.
price was 80 minus the selling
So now
price.
let's get back to the question. The
Yes,
selling price per unit is what from the question?
80 minus the variable cost, which is 50.
Okay. And okay. So if it is contribution margin ratio, we divide the whole thing by selling price per unit
Selling
again.
price per unit
So that's
again.
what you are seeing here.
Okay,
80
which is the
minus
80
50.
again. Hello, which is the
Yes.
80 again?
80
Yes,
minus
please. So,
50 divided by 80. Sure,
okay,
sure.
80 minus 50 is 30 divided by 80. I got 0.375.
0.3.
75.
I'm listening. 0.3. 0.375.
Yes, please. 0.375. That's 30.
Okay. Do we have some other points following, or that's just the figure?
So that's just the figure, 0.375.
Good. That's good. So this is 0.7, 0.375 CDs. That is the contribution to sales ratio. When we divide, we say, let's go back. We said the formula is total fixed cost divided by contribution to sales ratio or contribution margin ratio. What we have calculated be 0.375 is the contribution to sales ratio.
Yeah.
So when we bring the fixed cost on top and divide the fixed cost by this 0.375, then we get our break-even revenue. So break-even revenue is equal to 600,000
600,000
divided by
by 0.375.
0.375.
Breakeven revenue, 100,000, 0.36. To give us 1,600. Hey, yes, 1,600 Ghana cedis.
Do the calculation again. 600,000 divided by
600,000 divided by 0 0.37.
0.375.
Yes, please, 1,600. So I got 1,600. Is it one? Yeah, thousands or one? Yeah, 1,600. Yeah, it is 1,600.
Donna, are you not using calculator?
I'm using calculator. It's 600,000 divided by 0.375. I got 1,600.
And what?
Sorry.
I'm listening.
Yeah, 1,600, 1,600, 1,000 or 1,000,000. I don't
What
know.
calculator are you using?
I'm using my laptop calculator. And that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which calculator. But when you type this figure, I don't know why you are seeing it to be 1,600. It's 1.6 million. Why?
Yeah,
You
one
can't
point.
do this.
Sorry.
Ah, okay.
1.6 million.
Are you sure you are seeing 1.6 million on your calculator?
Yes, it's 1,600. The zeros are 5.
So why did you say 1,600? Okay, let's move ahead. So that will be 1.6 million Ghana cedis. It means that if the company wants to break even, it needs to make this money, 1,600,000, to be able to pay off all of its costs, but nothing left as profit, zero profit. Please, are you okay?
Yes.
Okay. And just look at this figure. You know that if you have break-even quantity of 20,000 blouses, yes, that's the number of blouses you need to sell to break even. If you know the price of one blouse, you can multiply the price of one blouse by this 20,000 to get a break-even revenue. That's another way to get the same value. And that will be 20,000 blouses times 80 cedis. One blouse sells for 80. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So if you multiply 80 by 20,000, you get the same value as 1.6 million.
1.6.
1.6 million, not 1.6. Please, I hope you are clear.
Yes, please.
Okay. So that's how we calculate the break-even quantity and the break-even revenue. And you have to be familiar with the formulas. Total fixed cost over unit contribution for break-even quantity. Total fixed cost over contribution to sales ratio or contribution margin ratio for break-even revenue. The formulas are very much interrelated. Get the understanding, read through the textbook, watch the video, practice with examples, and you shouldn't forget this. Are you okay?
We'll do that. Yes, please. Kakra kakra.
Yeah. No, nyankakra nkakra. You should be able to do it with speed. Then the two is asking requirement two, prepare a CVP graph and show the break-even point on the graph. Okay. So we
Well,
are going to use,
I have to go and buy
well,
Graph. Okay. I have to go and buy Graph.
you have to go and buy graph. Yes. Or you have Excel on your computer, right?
Yes, please.
So you don't need a graph book. You need Excel.
But what of the exams
And
when
of
it
course,
comes? Will be provided with a graph
you will be provided with a graph book.
sheet.
Okay, graph sheet.
And I need to
The
practice with
break-even
it.
chart. Okay, so for practice purpose, you can get some graph sheets and practice with. Okay. The break-even chart or the CVP chart tries to draw the total revenue line and total cost line. The main focus is on these lines: total revenue line, total cost line. Where the total revenue line meets the total cost line, it means total revenue is the same as total cost. If your total revenue is equal to your total cost, it means your profits is equal to 0. If you have revenue of 1,000, total costs of 1,000, your revenue will pay all your costs. Your profit becomes 0. So this is how the CVP chart is constructed. You construct the straight line for total revenue. Total revenue is assumed to be linear. Total revenue is assumed to relate with quantity in a linear fashion. Total cost is also assumed to be linear function with quantity. Okay, so let's try to see how we will do it in Excel. Remember that total revenue is equal to the selling price per unit. Sorry. Selling price per unit multiplied by total quantity sold. Are you okay with this?
Yeah. So, selling price per unit multiplied by quantity sold.
Multiplied by total quantity sold.
Total quantity, okay.
Are you okay? That's your total revenue, your total sales revenue. Are you okay with that?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we can mathematically write total revenue is equal to selling price per unit times quantity. This is the total revenue function, total revenue curve. This is how it looks like in terms of equation. Now let's come to total cost. Total cost can also be seen as being equal to total fixed cost plus total variable cost. Are you okay with this?
Yes, please.
And then this one, total variable cost. Variable cost moves with the unit of production. If you produce more, they increase more. If you produce less, they increase less. That's why we say they are variable.
Okay.
So they have a relationship with the activity, quantity sold. So total variable cost can also be written as variable cost per unit multiplied by quantity sold. Are you okay with this?
Okay. Variable cost per unit.
Per unit times quantity sold. That will give us total variable cost of sale.
Okay.
Are you okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, so we are going to chart these functions. Most importantly, the total revenue function and the total cost function. Now we can now write the total cost to be equal to total fixed cost plus variable cost per unit times Q. This part is the TVC, the total variable cost.
Please,
So we can now,
can you write it again? I can't see what, like the total,
total
the
cost.
formula, the last formula.
The last formula, you can even see it yourself. Total cost is equal to total fixed cost, right?
Yeah.
Plus total variable cost.
Variable cost, yeah. That one, yeah. Total fixed
Yes.
cost.
And this part can be calculated as this.
That is the total variable cost.
The total variable cost
Hmm.
can be calculated as variable cost per unit times Q.
Variable cost per unit
Are you okay?
times quantity. Okay.
So therefore, the whole total cost can now be, this one is standing the same, but we can substitute this for this. So it will be total fixed cost plus variable cost per unit times quantity. It's the same thing. We have not changed anything there. Are you
Okay.
okay?
Yes, please.
Okay. So we are going to plot these equations on the graph sheet. Then we'll see how they relate to themselves on the graph sheet and how we can identify the break-even point and the corresponding break-even quantity and break-even revenue. So now let's open an Excel sheet. My machine is a little slow, so let's have some patience. It's opening.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so we now have our Excel open, so we can try to do something. If you look at our question, if you look at our question, you will see that, okay, we understand. Let me repeat these things here. We understand that total revenue is equal to selling price per unit times quantity. Total cost is equal to total
Total
fixed
fixed
cost
cost plus
plus
total variable cost.
variable cost per unit variable cost per unit times quantity. So we are going to pick information. We are going to pick the selling price per unit and going to pick some quantities to run with. We are going to do fixed costs, we're going to do variable cost per unit at some quantities, and then we'll plot the graph. Okay, so let me type the key inputs here. The key input figures, we have selling price, selling price. The question said it is 80 cedis. We have um, variable costs. Variable costs
50.
per unit. The question said it is 50.
50.
Let me
Yeah.
bring the per unit here. Per unit. Okay, now let's do this. When we come here, let's say we have some quantities here. So this is quantity. Quantity of the product. Let's assume, let's do it 500, 500. So we have 500, 1000. So intervals of 500. So when I select these two cells and drag, Excel will repeat the same pattern for me. Up to, let's say, about 6,000 quantities. Hello? Yes, sir. I'm in a lecture session right now. Can you call me a few minutes? Okay. So we are assuming that the quantities that we will sell, I mean, we could have started from zero, but it will be so long. So we are just stepping them by 500 difference. You could have done them 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. It doesn't spoil anything. So if you do 500, 1,000, 1,005, 2,000, 2,005, blah, 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 this is what it is. Then we say um, total revenue. Total revenue, look at the formula on your right hand side. A selling price per unit times quantity. So in Excel, when you want to do a formula, this is what you do. You begin everything you are typing, the formula you are typing, with equal sign. That tells the program you are building a formula. So I've done equal to selling price per unit. This is 80. So I click on the 80. Just that, yes, the 80 has to be where it is. So I have to make it an absolute cell reference. So absolute cell reference, you just bring $sign before the row letter, so the column letter and $sign before the row number. But you don't worry about this, okay? So all you need to know is that total revenue is equal to selling price per unit 80 multiplied by, so I'm going to do times this 500. Okay, so at quantity 500, our total revenue is 40,000. And then I'll drag to cover the rest. The program will accurately calculate all the total revenues for all
So,
of those quantities.
Joshua, please, the
Yes.
quantity. You would have to provide your own quantity. It is not in the question, right?
Yes, you will have to assume some quantities. For example, when you are charting, when you are just sketching a chart, you know, when you come up with this equation, total revenue is equal to selling price times quantity. At least you know one quantity. We calculated the break-even quantity to be 20,000, right?
Yes.
All right. So you can say that when quantity is equal to 0, total revenue will be 0. So you have 2 points that you can plot, 0, 0. And
Mm-hmm.
then when quantity is 20,000, which is the break-even quantity, total revenue will be 20,000 times 80. Then you
Mm-hmm.
have that value plus, you have 20,000 plus the value that the total revenue will be at quantity 20,000. That constitutes another point that you can plot. And when you are just, I mean, doing a chart, sketching a chart, you need just 2 points to draw a line.
Mm-hmm.
So we could have done it that way. When I finish, I'll do that sketch for you to see. But what we are doing right now is to try to do something more accurate. So we have more data points as opposed to just 2 data points to draw a line between. You understand?
Okay.
Let's move on. So this is our total revenue for all of the assumed quantities. Then we can come back to our cost. Our total fixed cost was given as 600,000 and it doesn't change. Fixed cost is fixed cost. So 600,000 is the same across all the quantities. So 600,000 up to here. $600,000. And we have our total variable cost. That one is equal to variable cost per unit multiplied by quantity.
Quantity sold.
Quantity sold. Remember, our TVC is equal to VC per unit times Q.
Yeah.
So when we drag for all the quantities, we can calculate our total variable cost. And therefore, we can calculate our total cost. Our total cost is equal to the sum of total fixed cost and total variable cost. So we can also drag this to get our total cost. I hope you have some basic spreadsheet skills. Do you?
Basic. Yeah, small.
Yes, you're supposed to have it. Once you are in business, you're supposed to have it. Don't sleep over it. If you are scratchy about it, go and learn.
Oh,
Okay, so
so
this is how we get our total cost, which is our total fixed cost plus our total variable cost. Now we can plot our total revenue
it's sorry.
line.
This one is it in the video?
Yes, there's a separate video about this.
Is it part of the one you
So when you go
shared?
to my channel,
Mm-hmm.
it's not part of the specific one I shared. The one I shared was supposed for you to just get a link to my YouTube channel. Once you have subscribed, if you go to my channel fully, I have a playlist which is labeled Management Accounting. You will see all videos there, including there's a video on how to do CVP chart with Excel. And it's a similar thing that we are doing here. Okay, so now we're going to chart total revenue and total cost. We said, let me do the sketch basic before we see what the outcome will be like. When you, the total revenue line will be something like this. And the total cost curve can also be something like this, hypothetically. Where the two meet here, this is the break-even point. They are on axis. This is the costs and revenue axis, and this is quantity axis. So when you trace here, the intersection here, to the quantity axis, any value you find here is the break-even quantity. When you trace to the revenue and cost, this is the break-even revenue. And at this point, the break-even revenue will be the same as the break-even costs. That is why the profit will be zero. So this is the sketch of the concept. But the Excel will actually show it better. So let's try to do it using the figures that we have created in the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so we are only going to pick this total revenue figures. Select the whole of this and also select the whole of total costs. Yes. And then just tell Excel, give me charts for these figures. So we click on the Insert tab and come to, we can do a line. So we come here and say, give me a line chart. No, not yet, I'm coming. We've not yet calculated our profit because that's what we actually need. So profit is equal to revenue minus cost. So here is equal to this revenue minus our total cost. Okay. So when we produce 500 units, we sell 500 units, our profit is a loss, 585,000. Now let's drag up to here.
This is your profit is equal to
Profit is equal to revenue minus
revenue
cost.
minus cost.
Yes. Total revenue minus total cost.
Sure, I'm lost too. Hello.
You are lost.
Another one.
Don't worry, I'll come back.
Hello.
Yes. Okay. So based on the figures we are using, we have to do more dragging. The reason is that our break-even quantity is far away. I think it was even 20,000. So let me do something. I'll explain everything to you, don't worry. Let me do it 1,000, 2,000, so that the common difference becomes 1,000 difference.
1,000.
Otherwise, I'll have to drag to pick so many cells. Yeah. So let me see 10,000. Even here, we have to go extra mile. So let me do 2,000 rather, 2,000, 4,000, so that we don't do many data points. Okay, so let me do about 40,000. 36. Okay, this is okay. So we are experimenting with up to 40,000 units. Now we can drag this formula to cover the rest of the entries. This formula as well. This was the fixed cost. And this is the variable cost. And this is our total cost. And this is our profits. Okay, so nice experiment. Now let's see something. Let me just expand all the width of the cells. Okay, so see something. You're supposed to understand the formulas that is underpinning these calculations. See our profit figures. Given the cost structure that the company is operating with, when we produce 20,000 blouses, our profit is a loss of 540,000. When we increase the production from 2,000 blouses to 4,000, our loss is decreasing again. So we are looking at our loss decreasing up to, this is 0. So this is where profit is 0. Now check the quantity at which profit is 0. It is 20,000 units.
20,000.
That is what that's what we calculated here. This is the 20,000 we calculated. And the Excel is pointing to you that when you build this sheet for your analysis, you will come to realize that at quantity, 20,000 quantities of blouses, your profit will be 0. At that point, your total cost will be equal to your total revenue. Look at, let me just block this first column. So come to view, freeze first column. Okay. Now let's move ahead. See, look at the break-even. This is the quantity, 20,000. At that quantity, see total cost. Let's see total revenue. Total revenue is this. Total revenue is 1.6 million, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember that when we were calculating the break-even revenue, we had 1.6 million?
1.6. Yes.
I mean, yes, 1,600,000.
Yeah.
At that revenue, total cost will also be the same figure. See total cost. Total 1,006. Sorry, 1.6 million. And profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. So when you subtract 1.6 million from 1.6 million, what do you get? You get zero profit.
Zero.
And that's the break-even point. At the break-even point, profit is zero. And the break-even point occurs at quantities 20,000 blouses. So when you move forward to 22,000 units, you see that you begin to make a profit of 60,000. When you move forward again, 24,000 blouses, you get a profit of 120,000. So this spreadsheet will help you see how your profit will change if volume is changing in this case. And we can even come here and do some sensitivity analysis. If fixed cost changes, let me put a fixed cost figure here so that it will help our sensitivity analysis. Fixed, total fixed costs. It was 600,000. 600, 1, 2, 3. Let me put it here and refer it in the main model from here. The total fixed cost is equal to this. And I drag it all across. Sorry, I have to do something about the coding. So here I have to make it total fixed cost. This is equal to this. Good. So I am referring it from that central point. So I can simply change the figure there for it to recalculate everything for me. That's great. Good. So when we are doing some sensitivity analysis, now we have seen that if quantity is increasing up to 20,000 blouses, we are able to get our break-even situation. Beyond 20,000 blouses, we begin to make some profit. So we are beginning to see how increase in quantities will affect profits. If you increase from 20,000 to 22,000, it generates a profit of 60,000. 24,000 blouses generate a profit of 120,000. But what if fixed cost changes? What will the scenario be like? So if you change fixed cost from say 60,000 to let's say 50,000, let's see, the whole model recalculates. And now let's go and see our break-even situation will change. Now see, at 20,000, we don't have profit to be zero again.
Yeah.
Total revenue of 1.6 million is not the same as total cost of 1.6 million. So when our total fixed cost changes, our break-even point lowers. So now let's track to see where our break-even point will be. Oh, in this particular situation, when we have our fixed cost to be 50,000, our break-even point is even below 2,000. So you see that even 2,000 is giving us positive profit.
Yeah.
It means that our break-even point is far, far below. So our break-even point may be around 1,000 something. What if it is 700,000? Our break-even situation will change. Now let's go and see. Break-even is now in between 22,000 and 24,000 because 22,000 we have a loss, 24,000 units we get a positive profit. So in
Profit.
between 22,000 and 24,000, that is where the break-even is. That's where the break-even is. So it's good for you to learn how you can use Excel to do some of these analysis so that your knowledge in accounting and in this particular area becomes better. This is what actually in practice, if you are doing this, what you will do. All right, so that's just by the way in terms of break-even chart. All right, so now let's do the chart again. So I'll select here. Let's see how the break-even chart will be like. I'll select the whole of my total revenue, and also control select my total cost, and then I go to Excel, say insert a line chart. Okay, are you seeing something on your screen?
Yes, please. The graph.
In terms of a chart? Please, are you with me?
Yes, I'm with you.
Okay, so this is how the chart looks like. The blue one, you see the legend here. The blue one is the total revenue, and the one that looks like orange is the total cost. And we said that this CVP chart, where the two lines are crossing, that is where the two lines are equal. So if you go to the data, you will see that at the break-even, the total revenue line and the total cost line have the same values. That's where they are equal. And that's why they are crossing at this point. They are having intercourse. This is what we call the break-even point. And at this break-even point, when you trace down to the quantity axis, this becomes your break-even quantity. Because this one is using a scaling, so it points to 10. It will mean that maybe every distance between them is 2,000. So 10 times 2,000 gives you 20,000. Yeah, because it
This
has to
one.
scale to fit the graph. Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the break-even quantity. And when you trace here,
Hello.
yes, please talk. This is the break-even revenue.
I'm lost a little bit.
Are you seeing the screen?
Yes, I am seeing it, but my problem is where would I, with all the formulas and everything, I wrote them down so I can easily go back and then rehearse on that. But then with this one, I don't know how I'm going to
With
learn
what
about
one? Be specific.
the graph. This one, the one that we currently on right now.
Okay, so this is what you can do. I'll send you this video.
Okay.
And when you get a video, try to repeat everything I'm doing. When you repeat for the first time, you'll get some understanding. Repeat for the second time, you'll be able to understand how it is done. And then you'll be able to even create these charts yourself. When the chart is created, you should be able to interpret the chart. So listen to the interpretation I'm giving to the chart. The chart will be like this. The blue line is the total revenue line. The orange line is the total cost line. Where the two lines intersect is what you are seeing here. The two figures are the same, 1.6 million, 1.6 million.
The break even.
Yes, the break-even situation. So that tells you that on the graph, the break-even point occurs at where the two lines are crossing. And the break-even point, when you trace from this point to the quantity axis, whatever value that the tracing will hit is your break-even quantity, because the whole of this axis is the quantity axis. On this axis, the scale they are using is that the distance is a factor of 2,000. So every figure you see here should be multiplied by 2,000, because it needs to do this scaling for the graph to be able to fit. The figures are very big. Okay, so what you need to understand is how you get your break-even quantity by tracing from the break-even point to the quantity axis. break-even revenue by tracing from the break-even point to the revenue line. So you will see that this is 1.5, a little above 1.5 is the break-even revenue, and that was 1.6 million. Are you okay? Okay, go over it. You should be okay. Because a question can come where you have a chart and you're supposed to interpret the chart. The question can come in from the chart. What is the break-even revenue? What is the break-even chart? What is the break-even point, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's about it. That's question 2. It says prepare CVP graph and show the break-even point on the graph. That's what we have done. Okay, so that's okay. I think that's okay. 3. What would be the net operating income? In other words, what will be the profits? Net operating income, the same as profits. Net operating income or loss, or net profit or loss, if company sells 18,500 blouses in a year. So if you come here, it's saying we know that when the company sells 20,000, the operating income will be 0. When the company sells 22 blouses, operating income will be 60,000. So the question is saying, if we sell 18,500, you can go back and see 18,000. Okay, 18,000 is a loss. 18,000 gives us negative 60,000. 18,500 will still give us some loss figure. So let's see how we do that calculation. Let's see how we do that calculation. The formula for, some quantities to produce or sell to make some target profit. So profit before tax, some target profit. When you want to know the quantity that you have to sell to make some target profit, the formula is equal to total fixed cost plus that target profit divided by units contribution. All these formulas are in the video I sent you. Go back and watch them. You'll be able to link back with this tutorial. So this is the formula for finding the quantity of blouses that will make you earn some target profit. You just add that target profit to the total fixed cost. The rest of the formula is the same. So if you go to the question says we should find this. Let's read the question again. What will be the net operating income or loss if the company sells 18,500 blouses in a year? Okay. So question has given us this quantity, 18,500. And it wants us to find, we already know fixed cost, 600,000. It wants us to find this. So plus it's PBT. Sorry for that. Let me write it well.
So it's not
Profits before
TBT.
interest. No, it's PBT, profit before interest and tax. Profits before interest and tax. That's some target profit. So PBT. PBT is what we have to find, so it still stay there. Unit contribution was calculated as 30. So we can set it up like this and make this one the subject. All right. So this is what it will be. We cannot add PBT to 600,000. So what we'll do is, this is also the same as divided by 1. So we can cross multiply. Ayeka problem not starting with what? We go management accounting is mathematics, is statistics, is integrated. Yeah, so sometimes students that have serious problem with management accounting, their problem is actually mathematics. Those, I mean, quantitative analysis part of it. So we cross multiply. Cross multiplying means that the whole of this 6 plus PBT will be multiplied by 1, and 18,500 will be multiplied by 30. So we'll get 600, we'll get 1 times 600,000 plus PBT is equal to, remember, there's an equal sign. So is equal to, then the cross multiplication of 18,500 times 30. So is equal to 18,500 into bracket 30. This one will give us 600,000 plus PBT is equal to 18,500 times 30. What is the figure?
18,500 times 30.
Times 30.
555,000.
555,000. Like this, right?
Yes, please.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now we have this. We want to make this one the subject. So we can make PBT stand on itself as it's standing here is equal to 555,000. It's already at the other side of the equal sign. But we need to bring this guy. And when we are bringing him, when he crosses the equal sign, he will change to negative. So minus 600,000. Are you okay with that? Okay. Now you can find PBT itself. PBT is equal to, do 555,000 minus 600,000.
45,000 negative.
Okay, so negative 45,000. So we put it in brackets. That's how we do it in accounting. We don't write like mathematicians. So negative 45,000. That is what I was telling you, that if you check from your sheet, you realize that 18,000 units, 18,000 blouses gives us a loss of 60,000, right?
Yes.
So 18,500 will still be a loss, just that it will be a lower loss. That's why
Yeah.
we are getting a loss of 45,000.
45,000.
Yes, a loss of 45,000. So what it means is that from the question, if you say what will happen to net operating income or loss if company sells, so if the company sells 18,500, the company will be able to make a loss
Or
of
45,000.
45,000. Good. And that's how we do it. So
So
when you
this
go
one,
over,
I'll
I'll
write
send you
it.
the video.
Joshua, please, with this one, when I'm answering, I will just write it after the calculation. I would write it like the way you've just said it. Or the calculation would,
Yes, you say
answer the
therefore,
question.
if the company,
Okay.
yes, therefore, if the company sells 18,500 blouses, it will make a loss of 45,000 Ghana cedis. Please, are you okay?
Yes, please.
So this is in Ghana cedis. It's revenue. No, it's income. It's net income of negative 45,000 cedis. Okay, so that's the third question. The fourth question says, if the manager is
Joshua,
paid a commission of 6 cedis,
Joshua,
yes,
hello.
madam.
And you want us to
Uh,
finish all the questions, the sharp ones?
okay,
I
okay.
want to
So
go
we
and
can
then
break and
revise
continue.
and then understand it so that I don't
Okay,
but I imagine my
no
hey,
problem.
imagine my hey.
Don't let your mind go. Hey, calm yourself down. Okay. Let me tell you one
Okay.
thing. What we have done so far, I can
Mm.
understand that you don't have 100% understanding, but you have
Yeah.
getting to about 50% understanding. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yes.
Good. The 50% is superb. So when you go home, in most cases, you just need 50% for the first time, or even less. When you go home, don't sleep over it, like you were saying.
Okay.
Go with the understanding you have gathered right now. Go through the question again. Try to work something.
Okay.
Don't feel um don't feel what word do I even use? Don't blame yourself if you couldn't work something along the line. Go back to the video, go back to the textbook, read. That's what everybody does for us to get better. All right?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So we can break break here. So that is up to requirement 3, right? So we have 3 more
Oh,
requirements to do. So 3 more requirements from requirement 4, 5, requirement 4 to 6. I can even give it to you as an assignment, and I bet you can do it if you challenge yourself. Okay, so let's end here, and
okay.
then we'll continue um, maybe tomorrow.
Oh, please, what time?
It will be around same time because we have to close from work before we can meet.
Mm, okay.
Okay. So thank you very much
Thank you too. I have to thank you.
for
Hey.
your for your attention.
Thank you too for your support.
Okay.
I am
So
praying that
we will meet tomorrow.
tomorrow, same time.
Yeah,
Thank
same
you,
time.
Josh.